Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
Welcome to this week's National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show, and I'm your co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine. I'm sitting here with your host, Mr. Lee Martin, and our special guest. And Lee, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing fine, Florence, and as you know, I'm always doing fine because of organizations such as the National Federation of the Blind, bridging gaps of visible differences, and all the things that we do. I'm going to expound just a little bit about this program with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline show. This is a show that promotes one of the many services of the National Federation of the Blind. It is NFB Newsline. It is a free service for those that have challenges manipulating print. Even the deaf-blind now can use this service. There's so many features to the service where individuals can read over 500 publications, including international publications, breaking news publications, and your local newspapers and magazines. Florence, let's talk just a little bit about the magazines that you like to read.
I can certainly do that, Lee. As you know, one of my favorites, I'm going to start from the top, is AARP Magazine because I am a senior citizen, and they have a lot of information on discounted services that I might benefit from. So I love AARP Magazine, that's one. Another one is Best Recipes because even though I'm blind, I still like to cook. And so Best Recipes gives me a lot of ideas on cooking. Foods that kind of, to me, are kind of adventurous. There's always also Guidepost magazines and others as well. So there are magazines for everybody, Lee.
Okay. And how do you access this service? You can access it by using your landline phone. You can access it by using your smartphones. We do have an app for those that are using the Apple devices. And we also can use it, let's see, the Digital Talking Book and Braille Library Recorder. Mm-hmm. There's a plethora of ways that you can use it through your computer.
Yeah, and Alexa.
And Alexa, that's the latest one. And I tell you, to learn more about these, pay attention to the commercials. You can figure out how to contact us through the commercials. It's scrolled across the screen, and it's also verbalized.
Yeah, and these services are free.
And it's free. Mm-hmm. Free, F-R-E-E. So we're going to take a pause and come right back with our guests. We're going to have a very open conversation today, as this is October, Meet the Blind Month. And we will be sharing some great conversation. Maybe we'll talk about some things you just might be curious about.
Thousands of Indiana residents feel isolated from the world due to vision problems. Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm blind. I read Stars and Stripes on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline.
Welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind, and we would like to introduce our guests today, and they've been on our show before. We have Mr. Garcia Scott, as well as Mr. Layron Carter. And again, you two, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Well, we certainly appreciate you guys coming on to our show again. And as we talk about the National Federation of the Blind, and as we talk about October, Meet the Blind Month, and also October the 15th is White Cane Day, which the governor has already given out a proclamation throughout the state of Indiana for White Cane Day. So thank you, Governor.
Yes.
And So the National Federation of the Blind is the oldest and largest organization of organized blind in the country. We have over 50,000 members throughout the country, and our national office is located in Baltimore, Maryland. I would tell you guys to take the time to visit our website at nfb.org. Our national president is President Mark Riccobono, and we're a three-tier organization. We have the nationals, we have the state. Our state president is Mr. Ronald Brown, and we have chapters throughout the state, and we have 2 chapters here in the city of Indianapolis. We have the Indianapolis chapter, and we have the Circle City chapter. And we are often and always looking for individuals that are blind, or you want to say visually impaired, but we say blind in the National Federation of the Blind, and all those that can see. You're more than welcome to become a member of the National Federation of the Blind. I think the oldest member, or the member that has had the most time with the National Federation of the Blind on the stage with us today is Mr. Garcia Scott. Garcia, how long have you been with the National Federation of the Blind?
I say about 17, 18 years.
17 and 18 years. Okay,
Yes.
now, after your sight loss, how did you get introduced to the National Federation of the Blind?
Well, how I got introduced is a young lady that's no longer with us, Johnetta Harrington and Miss Lockhart, and they was pulling me by one on each side of my body, pulling me by my ears. You know, I was new with BOSMA, and they thought the Federation of the Blind be a good tool to, the organization could help me. And since they help the blind and provide services for the blind, it'd be a good tool for me.
So they encourage you to be an advocate.
Yes.
And I remember Janetta and Miss Miss Harrington and Miss Zora Lockhart.
Oh, yes.
We miss them dearly. They both moved on.
Definitely. Yeah.
And they just were such an encouragement, and along with the organization itself and some of the philosophy of the National Federation of the Blind, some of the things that we talk about and we breathe and live, so that individuals can live independent lives as blind citizens.
Yes.
And we don't have to be defined by our condition of blindness, And the true fact about the National Federation of the Blind, and Florence, you can help me out with this, is that every day we are raising the expectations of blind citizens across this country and around the world.
We are.
And we do this through a myriad of ways, through advocacy, education, toward independence, and we have numerous of programs. And I'm going to throw this out there again. The nfb.org website is where we would love for you to go visit and learn more about the many, many, many services, and maybe it'll help you to help someone else along the way.
And also, what I like to do, Lee, is still direct them to our toll-free number. Even though it's a Newsline number, it will also very useful, very helpful for them to be able to get more information on the National Federation of the Blind. And that toll-free number is 1-855-963-6476. And
say it one more time.
It's 1-855-963-6476.
Okay. Now, we do have a state convention coming up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which will be held October the 25th, 26th, and 27th. We'll be lodging at the Ramada Inn in Fort Wayne. And call us, go to our website, and you'll learn more information. You go to the website, nfb-in.org, nfb-in.org, and you'll learn more about our state convention that's coming up, and you'll also be able to listen to it on stream. So if you can't make it to the convention, join us and listen to what our state president and our National Federation of the Blind Indiana has to talk about. And I know that we have Mr. LaRon Carter here with us today.
Yes.
And he's wanting to become a member of the National Federation of the Blind.
Yes.
And so you just call that number or call or go up on the website, and we'll get you all signed up for this I'll tell you, great organization that's doing great things. We have a national conventions. Our next convention is going to be held in Houston, Texas. And that's going to be July of next year. So find out more information about that as well. And be sure to visit our national office where there's so much going on there. $50 million building, and we're adding on as we speak right now. So, LaRon.
Yes, sir.
You are new to the fold with the learning about the National Federation of the Blind, learning about blindness, and this is probably your first Meet the Blind Awareness Month campaign. What excites you about that?
Well, you know, I'm realizing that I am surrounded by others who are not letting blindness define them. That's helping me, because I was in denial for a long time. You know, for 13 and a half years, I didn't even want to admit that or say that I was blind. I would say I'm visually impaired. But I'm now inspired. I've always wanted to get involved, and I'm seeing an organization and people that are affiliated that are in, I call it getting it. They're getting it. They're out here active. They're not sitting on the couch. They're not part of the statistics of saying that they gave up. And so that's inspiring me to continue on and keep on keeping on. So hopefully we can help some others realize that, yes, there's more to it than just the fact that we're blind. That's not how we are defined. That just happens to be one of our blessings.
You know, and one thing, LaRon, that I think about is something that I've heard Lee say before. He calls blindness the gift of blindness.
Yes, yes. It's absolutely a gift. When he tells us to walk by faith and not by sight, and we happen to not have much of a choice, so you know, we kind of end up looking and feeling. At times, I feel like one of the chosen ones. You know, it's a blessing.
And you know, I tend to believe also, LaRon, that things that happen in our life, no coincidence. And I believe that if we called to be blind,
that's right.
We've also been equipped to be blind.
Yes, we all here up on this stage, and plenty of viewers out there watching and listening have had some experiences that has helped prepare us for that. You know, I thank God for the ability to look back now and realize that that's what that was. I might not have understood then because it just seemed like a storm or a test or a fire. But, you know, fortunately, we withstood the test of the fiery furnace. And, you know, we've been able to make it this far, so, you know.
Yeah, and before we go to break, let's see, Garcia, you lost your sight through gun violence.
Yes.
LaRon, you lost your sight through?
So basically through activity, sports, head trauma, and time.
And glaucoma?
And I have glaucoma.
Okay, and Florence?
And mine is retinitis pigmentosa.
And myself? I just went blind. So we'll be right back, and stay tuned.
I'm Danny Wayne Beamer, Program Manager of the Elder Blind Program at the Will Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. I introduce the NFB Newsline to seniors in 13 southwestern counties in Indiana. I also utilize the NFB Newsline for my radio station public affairs shows. The NFB Newsline. Experience it today.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
Welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind, and this month is Meet the Blind Month. And Lee, we were talking about some of the things that affect us as being blind, and we were discussing the parental rights bill.
Yes, and each of us have had challenges, watching our grandchildren grow or being around our grandchildren. And in my case, I had lost my sight and grandchildren started popping up, grandchildren that I have never seen and will never see unless there's a higher power to be that gives me my sight back. But these grandchildren of mine, let's dive into this because, I know that there was a hesitancy. Should I let my dad be around the kids like that, or what are some of the challenges that you guys face as being parents with blind children, and as we advocate here in the state of Indiana for the rights of parents of blind children? Garcia, you want to start out with a few of the challenges you came up with?
Well, kids are active, and they like to play games and stuff, and just keeping up with them, but they have, kids have questions, they want to know what happened, and I try not to scare them, but I kind of brief them a little bit, but I tell them the truth and let them know. And then also, I let them know that I need them to see for me too. So to be right there for me, and that's been working good too. But far as agencies and people looking at me as a parent, or the mechanism of being blind, I really haven't had a lot of problems with that because I guess my spouse at the time, could see, and she helped with that. But it's just letting my grandkids and kids know that I need them to a certain degree, so.
And that's the way it is in society, whether you have sight or not.
Yes.
It is.
It's no different. Some people want to, bring that hesitancy about, our fear for the child.
Right.
Florence, you
Well,
as a mother,
as a
what some of your
mother-
experiences?
Well, see, as a mother now, I want to say on this end, I've raised my children with, as some would call it at that time, limited vision. But the thing about it is that you learn that you do depend on your other senses.
Mm-hmm.
My children used to look at me and they would say, for a mother that says she can't see, seems like you see everything.
Yeah.
Because I told them, I said, yeah, I got eyes in the back of my head. You think you're getting away with this, but I see this and that and the other, because basically I use what I have, and
That's
I know
right.
my children. You know your children. And when you're growing up and people are thinking, okay, well, she can't see, so she don't know this or that and the other. You listen, you're like, okay, what you picking up over there? Put that
Right.
back. Because you basically you learn to use what you got.
Yeah, yes, right.
And I'm just saying that as a mother, because as a mother, I wasn't dependent on the dad to say, okay, well, they're doing this and that and the other. I had to use what I had, and I had to know my children.
Right. And I'll tell you what is a lesson. And what about you, Laurent?
Well, and I face that. My son's young; he's 8, and I faced some adverse challenges. In the beginning, when it's like, is he going to be okay with you? Yeah, he's going to be fine with me. I'm his father. I got him. If that means if y'all crossing streets, yeah, I've learned how to do that. It's okay. Shoot, he and I even got a system. We go to Taco Bell or go grab something to eat somewhere. He'll start just reading off the menu. At that time, when we would go out some places, he might not be able to read it, but he started spelling it, and I could tell what he's spelling. We work in tandem.
But due to time,
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Yeah,
That's right.
Makes the
Teamwork.
dream work.
That's right. That's right.
And let's talk about these restaurants. You're eating out or something.
Yes.
What are some of the isms that you have? I know one of my pet peeves is when I sit down to eat and I have, some with me. The first thing they'll say is,
What do he
want?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm a grown man.
Yeah, correct.
I'm sure she doesn't know what I want.
Right.
And
Yes.
tell me, what are some of you guys' ones?
Now, I know for me now, I've gone up to the register to pay for my food, and I'll take out my card and I'll pay, and the cashier will ring it up and give my card to the sighted person that I might be with. And see, I've got an issue with that.
Yes.
I do, you know, because people have these preconceived notions, as we call it. They just want to, well, they don't know what they don't know, really. And it is our, it is our obligation, really, our duty to educate people because they don't know.
Yeah, our duty, you know, that we've been gifted.
Yeah.
I mean, it is truly a gift. You know, LeBron, what are some of yours, LeBron?
Have you ever gone into a restaurant and asked them, you know, about maybe a particular item that they might have on the menu? You know, what does your down south burger have on it? And they turn around and they're you could tell they're pointing at the border. It's like, well, it's up there.
Yes.
It was like, excuse me. Didn't I start this conversation off as that I don't see, that I'm blind? Didn't I said that in the very beginning?
You sitting there,
I'm
you
blind.
don't look blind.
I'm sorry, I'm needing to ask you for a little help.
You don't look like you're blind.
You don't look like it. You walked up here on your okay.
I've been told that too.
So excuse me for functioning. You know.
You know, and there's
It's not an illness.
so many devices that we can use. The technology has come such a long way. I have to say, the National Federation of the Blind has helped usher that along. And I tell you, while we're still talking about some of the pet peeves, you know, is etiquette. You know, even the etiquettes with the ushers and the deacons and the ministers and the church. How, you know, they really don't know, and that's where we become the educators.
Correct.
And that's where we become, if they'll let you, because you're blind. You know, but if they are receptive, you can teach them the proper techniques of walking with us, seating us, and talking with us, and just being a commonality. You know, one of my pet peeves with churches, and particularly homegoings, funerals, is that now they want to do a silent reading of the obituary. And, you know, that's maybe your family member, that may be your friend, you're in the building for a reason.
Correct.
You know, please stop doing the silent readings and read it aloud, because you have elders there that may be suffering with diabetes, sight loss, macular degeneration, all these things that keep them from accessing that print and becoming a part. We got another minute here before we go to break. So, we have some technology here. There was something we're going to talk about a little bit about technology. You know, when we talk about the iPhone and some of the smartphones and stuff, how you can read these things, pull them up on the website. We can do that. We use phones and everything to pull up information so that when we get to different places, we know what we want, you know, for the most part. And so we're going to take a short pause, and we're going to come back with the piece of technology here that we find to be very intriguing. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
Well, welcome back to the conclusion of today's show. And Layron, you have a piece of equipment that you wanted to let our viewers know about, so?
Yes, this has been a life-changing piece of technology. These are eSight eyewear. So it is necessary to have a little bit of sight. So if you happen to have a little bit of sight, I have no central vision, just a small portions out of my peripheral vision, out of my lower and inner right eye. They have inner lenses that will adjust to reflect the images in front of you into your sweet spot, so to speak. These can be used in a multitude of ways. If you're going back to school and in business and etc., just hook up to any HDMI output on any device. So I can play games with my kids. I can actually get on my laptop. So as I encounter going back to school, this is a useful tool. They read to you. They also have an OCR reader on them, so they could actually pick up images from documents and read them to you. They have a voice-guided menu. They can take photos of your family, friends, and loved ones. You can go to the restaurant, we were talking about that, and take a picture of the menu yourself and zoom it in and go into panning mode, just by moving your head left and right. They have a great, they will help coach you with the product. With the package of you getting them, it comes with coaching sessions and training sessions, so you don't have to be intimidated. I used to be anti-technology, now I'm all about it.
Wow, what a great tool. And how much are those?
The whole package, everything, it costs you a little over 10 grand. Just the glasses themselves is like $6,900. But then once you get the warranty, which is necessary, once you get the coaching, which is necessary, then you know it'll cost you just a little over 10 grand, just shy of 11,000. But that versus 500,000 for surgery, that may or may not be successful.
Right. And so our national president and our legislative division, we're talking about Access Technology and Affordability Act. And this is one of the main reasons that we talk about that. So we have just a short little bit of time to go. And by this being Meet the Blind Month, we hope that we have encouraged you to let you know that, hey, we are what? We are blind citizens, and we just functional people, you know. And if I hadn't lost my sight, I wouldn't have had the pleasure of meeting any of you up here today. And you know, so there's part of that gift that's brought together. So also on October 15th is White Cane Day, and we all have our white canes here on the stage. You hold your white cane up so people can see. Some of them have the red tip on it, and mine is an all white cane with a little metal tip. So if you see us, or individuals with us, or with leader dogs, you know, respect that, please, and understand that. We are blind citizens, and we do have tools. This is not called a pole. It's not called a stick.
That's right.
It's called a cane. So, you know, we want to be mindful of that. And also, we do have a state convention coming up. The state of Indiana is having our state convention in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Go to nfb.org or call our number at
1-855-963-6476.
And learn more about our organization. Come visit with us, come share with us, come grow with us, so that our children, sighted and blind, can live in a world that we couldn't find a way to be successful in living with one another. Stay tuned for us next week. God bless you all. Have a great day.
National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.